Okay, well, now is probably the most dangerous time to turn the video camera on because my head is not in a good place. But this video could just be for me, or I could release it. I don't know, I've sort of been experimenting with this idea of these sort of video diaries or streams of consciousness, and sometimes I keep them and sometimes I let them go. And when I let them go, I feel like an incredible amount of nervousness, and that maybe I'll be misunderstood, or just what's the word? Like when you let someone know your vulnerabilities and they take those and use them as weapons against you. Because these are just thoughts, right? There's just stuff running around in my head. And I know loads of people, a lot of people go through this. In fact, I tend to be best friends with a lot of people who go through this because I think we just click. Yeah, it's been hard today. It's 10 past 2. I woke up late. My circadian rhythm is still not. This is what I mean by like vulnerabilities, is like telling you all the stuff that's not fixed, right? But the intention's there, the desire is there, but a lot of the time the action just isn't there. Like the emotion behind the action isn't there. On a positive note, I'm quite angry about not getting the job that I interviewed for. And I kind of am looking back on it and I'm thinking, did they just go through the motions, and were they just had a specific type that they wanted to hire, and it's a little bit more involved than that. There are some other conversations I had with them. At some point I had gone in there and was asking like for feedback because I hadn't had a phone call. So I said, could you just let me know going forward so that I know what to do. That was genuine. That was just genuine. And I suggested a number of things to them. Do I have too much experience? Have I not worked in retail enough? Am I personally, do you find me too abrasive, too loud, too confident? And then I said, which I shouldn't have said, but I kind of wanted to know, but I kind of also knew that there's a mild threat under there as well, which you don't want to end up in a situation where potentially that was what got you the interview. So I said, am I too old? And the bloke freaked out, and I was like, oh Christ, here we go. I said, look, am I, he said, no, like we've got people of all ages working here. Like, I don't even know how old you are. I'm not allowed to ask legally. Your CV is in my desk. It's the first thing when I open my desk drawer, it's right there. And then he proceeded to tell me everything about my life from the CV. So it was clear to me that he'd had a good read and, seemed like a truthful person. So it didn't feel like that was the issue. But I guess I'm not going to know until I get feedback. So I'm going to try and get down there at some point and get some feedback. They said in the email you can do that, like go see them, get feedback. I'm sure they hate it because everything used to be automated for them, but that is what it is. So, but the feeling of anger is interesting because I don't normally feel anger. It's not an issue for me in the sense that it, in the way that you don't see it. I think a lot of it I probably need to work on expressing anger more. I have a tendency and some pride, I think, in this idea that I can stay calm, whatever's going on. And it's a lot of people say that if you're not outwardly angry, you're probably pointing it inwards, in which case you're doing yourself some damage, which is possible as well. God, I can't wait to make a video on midlife crisis Sorry, I just had a thought, because I have all these thoughts, right? And like, I really need to get back to meditation and exercise. But immediately a thought came into my head, said, what does it matter? You're old. Like, what does any of this matter? You're going to die. Like, but like, I'm perfectly healthy. Just been out in the garden, doing whatever I need to do, lifting things and what have you. And like, I don't have any, knock on wood, I don't have any physical issues, ailments. I don't have any dodgy knees or anything like that. It's just still existing, Can't wait to make the midlife video, because if you haven't hit midlife, I don't know if it will be an eye-opening video or not. Probably not, because unless you're experiencing it, it's hard to just listen to somebody talk about it. But anyway, the midlife affects all the different thoughts that are going on in my head. So I think, regardless, what I was going to say about having a sense of anger is that it relates to emotion, and emotion is one of those things that I like feeling, like a lot of the time I don't feel very strong emotions about anything. Obviously I felt some very strong passion and emotions for fighting games at one point, and it was wonderful. Lots of wonderful, fruitful things came from that. That's how most of you know me. There was a time when I wanted to impress the world, and my father and my family and my friends, and wanted to be this guy who just kept going, and was sitting in a 3-window office in Manhattan on the 18th floor overlooking everything, with a team of however many people. A lot. But now life is different, a different stage of life, right? But sometimes you wake up, sometimes I wake up and I can't figure out what's going on. Like, I want to shake it, but it's hard shaking it. Even with physical activity, it can be hard to shake it. Physical activity is probably the best way to shake it, to be honest. And I was actually going to go for a run this morning, but I got summoned to the garden to do that work, and that's fine. I was in the sunshine, good amount of sunshine, good amount of physical activity, trudging up and down the garden with leaves and stuff, still putting them into this chipper that I had mentioned before. But I feel pretty bad about my interactions with my father, with my father's wife, like, because I found it hard to communicate with any level of charisma or desire to be there or exist, whatever that is. I'm not sure sometimes anymore these days. I'm not sure. It's like, depression. People throw that word around a lot. Anxiety. Did feel anxiety today. But low mood. But in all honesty, mostly just a lot of thoughts in my head. And you could say voices. I suppose we could say voices. But they're not literal voices, but they are thoughts, and they come out as sentences, and they're there. And they're not nice. They sound like I'm being bullied. But I am, in a way. I'm being bullied by my own head. How about that for a title? Thumbnail. Bullied inside my own head. So it's noisy up there, right? And then you got other people telling you in a muffled sort of, you can hear it in a muffled kind of voice, we need you to do this and this and this. And in a very pleasant way, in a happy way, with smiles and trying to cheer me up. And I am just like, feeling a certain kind of way. That's what I'm going to say. Feeling a certain kind of way. So those of you who get it will get it. And no doubt by the time this goes out, I'll probably be feeling a different kind of way. Like, you know, that saying, even this shall pass, like, it's a really good mantra or saying to go back to. But man, it's like, I don't know. There's all those layers. And then there's just this layer of like, leave me alone. Shouldn't have said that. But I doubt anyone's made it to the end of the video anyway, so it doesn't matter. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around and listening to my stream of consciousness. I do genuinely hope that everybody is doing well. Okay.